What's up, everybody? Welcome to AdoramaXP. I'm Josh Saleh. Huge shout out to all of you who watched, commented, liked all of our previous videos before. Sonic Frontiers, which came out last week, and God of War Ragnarok. Y'all have been crushing it. Thank you so much for the support. Check out our Discord and our Twitch down below to continue joining the community. And we love that you are loving our videos. Thank you so much. So for this one, that Game of the Year is on the horizon. We're not sure who's nominated yet, and we're not sure who's going to win yet. We thought we'd talk about Xbox and PlayStation, how it's been 2 years since the release of the current gen, or next gen back in the day. Xbox Series S and X released November 10th, 2020. PlayStation 5 released November 12th, 2020. It was so hard to get those consoles back then, and it still kind of is hard to get those consoles now. I mean, with the pandemic, parts constraint, scalpers, you name it, it's been difficult. But now they're becoming more widely available, which is great. And which is awesome. Check out the Adorama store in New York if you're still looking for a console. You never know what you might find, or even the online store. Check down below in our description. You never know what kind of gems you might get, have it be in person in New York or on the website. So 2 massive consoles competing for living room space. We're going to break down sales numbers. We're going to break down exclusive game releases that have happened and the future, acquisitions and what that means, and the future of these 2 consoles. I can't believe it's been 2 years. So let's see what they've done well and what they could have done a little better. The first year. Having 2 consoles releasing during a pandemic is never easy. And the first issue is part constraints, and we're feeling it to this day now. Now, from supply chain issues to inventory and the worst of the worst, scalpers. A record number of new consoles were sold for ridiculous prices in the first year. We saw websites go down to maintenance due to bots overloads. We saw 2-factor authentications, and the worst of it, we saw companies add a subscription-based service to buy a console, meaning you had to spend an additional $15, $20, $30 a month just to buy a console. That was wild. Now, there were consoles on eBay selling for $1,200 and up. And keep in mind, these consoles are regularly $400 to $500. Now, scalpers have always been a part of the gaming world with NVIDIA GPUs, CPUs, AMD, Intel, you name it. It's their bread and butter. But add in the pandemic, and inventory constraints, and scalpers are thriving. The first year wasn't easy. I remember I had to follow 15 different Twitter accounts waiting for a notification when there was going to be a PlayStation or Xbox drop. It felt like I was trying to buy the latest Nikes. Now, in a report from Tom's Hardware from December 22, this is insane, scalpers earned a profit of $19 million with just PlayStation 5 sales. The first year, again, scalpers made $19 million just on PlayStation 5 sales. Now, Xbox Series X and X, scalpers made $10 million in the first year. What? That's madness. I think they made more money than the companies that made the consoles, because we know Sony and Xbox are selling those consoles at a loss, because Xbox wants people to go to Game Pass, they want people to buy games, and same with Sony, they want people to buy games. So now that, hopefully, the scalper first year and second year, oh man, because it's really been continuing, is kind of almost at an end. Most people are now able to get those consoles, whether it's able to go into a store and get one or get one online, wherever you are, now it's a lot more available. So that was the first year. And if you remember how crazy that first year was, people were going mad. If you found a PlayStation 5, if you found an Xbox Series X, you had to really hold on to it because other people wanted to buy that from you, for kids, family members, for themselves. It was absolutely madness. So with any new console release, everyone always thinks about exclusives. What can I get that the other person cannot get, or the other brand cannot get? We see this a lot with Sony, with Spider-Man being on Marvel's Avengers and on Xbox, especially with Call of Duty skins and new content, maybe new maps, maybe new quests, maybe new missions. We see that with Microsoft and Xbox, with Halo, skins, stuff like that. But I'm not going to talk about skins and extra content and downloads. I'm going to talk about specifically games. Now, while everyone was running around like mad trying to grab a console, game releases continued. But those releases did get pushed back a lot. We saw a lot of delays, and we still continue to see a lot of delays in the first 2 years. A lot of things are coming out in 2023, and 2023 is absolutely packed. Insanely packed. Now, exclusives are a huge incentive to buy a new console. But again, during a pandemic, with those delays, Do those incentives still stand? Because you're kind of buying a console with not that many exclusives. So you're kind of just buying a console because you want the latest and greatest, and for the enhanced graphics, FPS, maybe you have a 4K TV, etc. Now, with those timed exclusives being delayed, let's talk about what exclusives came out since the release. So since November 2020, PlayStation 5 exclusives were Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, Ghostwire Tokyo, Gran Turismo 7, Destruction All-Stars, Last of Us Part 1, the remake. Now that's a bunch of exclusives in 2 years, right? For especially during a pandemic. But also one of those is a remake that's been remade on different consoles, so I don't know if you want to count The Last of Us, but it's still an exclusive to PS5. Now these are solely exclusive to PS5, meaning they were not released on PS4. Now the biggest game for PlayStation this year is God of War Ragnarok. Though, thankfully, it came out on PS4. And that's something that I think is really, really good for Xbox that we see and Sony that's doing, where they're releasing games on the previous console because they know people are unable to acquire a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S. So they're making it more accessible for people. On top of that, they also want to sell the game, and if they only put it on PS5, chances are they're going to have less sales. So it's a business decision as well. Now, for Xbox, there isn't an exclusive that only comes out on Xbox Series X. So the top 3 exclusives that are on Xbox Series X also came out for typically Xbox One or Xbox Series S. And those are Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, and Microsoft Flight Simulator. So there isn't an exclusive game just for Xbox Series X. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. Xbox's goal has always been more gamers everywhere, whether you're gaming on your couch in the living room or on a plane with Xbox Cloud Gaming or on your phone. Xbox wants you to play more on any device. If you're on vacation, you could bring your Xbox Series S with you. It's insane how lightweight and small it is. With so many Xbox games releasing on PC and on Xbox Game Pass, do you really need to buy a new console? That's all of Xbox. That's their mentality. Why lose all this money on consoles when you can just get you in the Game Pass? So gone are the days of consoles when you could just do digitally, streaming, cloud-based gaming. And that's where they're kind of headed. Now let's look to the future of these exclusive game releases and see what's coming. Starting with Xbox, I'm incredibly excited for this list because there are some of these games that I've been on my radar for a while now. Fable, Starfield, State of Decay 3, The Outer Worlds 2, which Outer Worlds 1 was absolutely amazing. Play it if you haven't. Redfall, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which is on a lot of people's lists. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. Now, Xbox is amping up their games, and they'll be releasing by the truckload because a few years ago, Phil Spencer mentioned that they're going to focus on games. That's why they got so many acquisitions. And the future is looking very, very bright for Xbox. Now, for PlayStation, where are all my Marvel fans out, y'all? Exclusives for the future are Forspoken, Marvel's Wolverine, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XVI, Knights of the Old Republic remake. Woo-wee! Massive game, KOTOR. Massive game, and there's tons of fans looking forward to that. Now, with more consoles being readily available and a slew of incredible exclusives, the next 2 years are going to be insane. And that's not even taking into account the 100 other games that are coming out for both consoles. Right? You have Resident Evil remake. You have so many things that are coming out for both. Hogwarts Legacy, the list is insane. So the next couple years are incredible. Acquisitions. Oh my goodness, there have been a ton of acquisitions the past 2 years. Microsoft and Sony made a bunch of moves. Now, they've either acquired companies to make specific IPs exclusive to their consoles, get on the ground floor of a development company, or to show their support with a helpful hand. The most notable acquisitions have come from Microsoft, so put your seatbelt on because this is going to be insane. September 21st, 2020, Microsoft acquired ZeniMax Media, most notably known for Bethesda, id Software, Arcane Studios, and more, for a whopping $7.5 billion. Oh my God. Whew, and we're just getting started to see the blueprint of this deal coming to fruition, with Redfall coming out next year, Starfield coming out next year, the Elder Scrolls game that's probably going to be Xbox exclusive. They have the rights to Doom, Quake, Evil Within, Fallout, Wolfenstein, and that's just to name a few. And most of those games are probably going to be on Game Pass. Actually, for a fact, Redfall and Starfield are going to be on Game Pass day one, so you don't even have to buy the whole game. You can just play it on Game Pass for a month subscription. Let's go, Microsoft. On January 18th, 2022, Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard, and this rocked the entire world for a total of $68.7 billion. I'm sorry, what? $68.7 billion. This was the biggest deal in gaming. The acquisition included Blizzard, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Raven Software, Sledgehammer Games, and more. They have now the rights to Call of Duty, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, Tony Hawk, Spyro, I'm getting worked up, all owned by Microsoft, a juggernaut. And now currently, because of the Activision deal, Sony is trying to stop future Call of Duty games from being available on Xbox Game Pass. It would severely hurt PlayStation sales if Call of Duty was on Xbox Game Pass. So it makes sense why they're trying to stop it. Phil Spencer recently came out, said they were going to honor the existing deal and agreement that they had and will not put Call of Duty on Xbox Game Pass for the foreseeable future. I don't know what that means. Could be 2 years, could be 1 year, could be 3 years, but however way you write it, they now have the rights to Call of Duty, so they can do whatever they want. Now, Sony also had a number of acquisitions the past 2 years, and that could be in part to Xbox's hungry hippo mentality. But on June 29th, 2021, Sony acquired Housemarque, most notably for Returnal, for an undisclosed price. July 1st, 2021, they acquired Nixxes Software, known for Soul Reaver, Tomb Raider, and Hitman, and 40% of their work compromises of game ports and helping Sony port their games to PC, which we're seeing Sony do a lot of. And there are a ton more. Firesprite, known for their work in VR gaming. Bluepoint, known for remastering games like Shadow of Colossus and Uncharted. Haven Studios, working on an Untitled multiplayer game for PS5. And of course, Bungie, acquired for $3.7 billion. I feel like $3.7 billion is a ton of money. I can't even match that. But Microsoft, I feel like, is like, $3.7 billion? But Sony now has the rights to Destiny. We know Sony's future is in multiplayer gaming because they're so good at single-player gaming. They want something to compete with. They want a new Destiny-type game that's exclusive, or a Halo competitor to compete with, that's solely on the Sony on this PlayStation consoles, especially purchasing Bungie and Haven Studios. Their plan are to create masterpieces in the multiplayer genre. Now, we're seeing the beginning of these acquisitions take shape, and I'm sure we will see so much more in the future. Now, we can't talk about Xbox and PlayStation without talking about their subscription services because it's such a big part of their identity, their DNA, especially in Xboxes. Now, PlayStation completely changed their subscription service this year, and if you want to know more specifics, check out our link in the bio. We go all over the new PS Plus Premium, Essentials, everything from price to what's included and more. So if you want to break down, check out that link in the bio. Now, Xbox Game Pass can be played on PC, Xbox, phones, tablets. It's an incredible service. And with their latest acquisitions, you're getting day one releases like huge games from Redfall to Starfield. And to me, Game Pass is one of the best deals in gaming. I can do a 1 month subscription to beat a game, which is way cheaper than spending $80 on a game and having it collect dust. Why not? Xbox Game Pass gives more spotlights to indie games and more. And if you're on the fence about buying a game, do Xbox Game Pass. Try it out. Great way to sample it and then buy the game later to support the dev team. Now, with PlayStation Plus, they added a bunch of backward-compatible PlayStation games that you can now play. You got demos on new games, select new games, access to cloud streaming, kind of like the Xbox Game Pass. You could play on your phone. You could play on a device, pretty much anywhere as long as your PlayStation's turned on. Now, it's definitely a push toward Xbox Game Pass type subscription model, but it's not quite there yet. Also, with their change in the different tier mentality, they lost, I think, 2 million subscribers, but I don't know what that really means because you could have still kept your same price tag and had the essential price. So I'm curious how they lost people and that number. Anyway, whichever you choose, this is the future of gaming. Subscription-based gaming is the future, and cloud gaming is where the road is taking us. I'm curious to see where it's taking us and if we'll see consoles in the future because everything seems to be going digital. Let's talk about the future. The past 2 years have been a wild ride, with some people still waiting to get consoles, still people waiting for exclusives to be on their new console they just got. So what does the future hold? Well, as of July 29th, 2022, there have been a total of 21.4 million PS5s sold. As of July 2022, there have been a combined 15 million Xbox Series X and Series S units sold. That could be in part for less exclusives, Xbox Game Pass, them releasing most of their games, or all of their games really, on PC. Now, before it used to be really easy to categorize these consoles. Xbox was primarily multiplayer games, and Sony was mostly single-player story-driven games. Now the lines are blurring a lot. Xbox Game Pass is giving you games on day one without the massive price tag, and their massive acquisitions is a focus for story-driven games, and it's a massive win. PlayStation is continuing their streak of unforgettable story-driven games, Last of Us Part 2, God of War Ragnarok, tying in their new PS Plus tier system and their focus on multiplayer gaming. It's like they've switched sides in a sense, because remember when Xbox used to be a white console, now PlayStation is a white console. When Xbox used to be a white console, now they're a black console. They've switched color schemes. They're switching different sides. But this video, don't get me wrong, is not a versus video or one or the other. Both companies have been killing it, and it's been amazing for gaming. Gamers have been at an all-time high right now. The future is looking so bright, and whichever way you turn, you're going to have something incredible. The dream is to have both consoles, Xbox and PlayStation, side by side with an input click away to switch from either one. Plus, if you're a PC gamer, damn, do you got it good? I mean, I'm a PC gamer, so hey, dirt off my shoulder. But if you are a PC gamer, Xbox games are typically on PC, and now PlayStation is porting their games to PC. So PC is kind of like that loving stepbrother, stepsister in the middle that everyone's just like, that person's awesome, just keep giving them stuff. I can't wait till we completely jump into the next gen world with game delays being a thing of the past. Let me know in the comments which console you tend to gravitate for. How has this journey the past 2 years been for you? Did you get a console day one? Are you still looking for a console? What's been some of the exclusives that you've been loving? This has been a wild 2 years, and it's only been 2 years, even though it's gone so fast. It feels like it's been like 6 months. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff you love to do, y'all. I'm Josh Saleh. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.